What is up, guys? Ben Allen back again with another video, and today is pretty much a video inspired by one of my Instagram followers. I did the little question box and they asked me pretty much advice for females wanting to be a combat medic, right? So obviously I'm not a female, I'm a combat medic, but I couldn't offer the proper insight into this, right? So one of my buddies from AIT, they saw this and she was like, hey, I can help with this. And I was like, yes, please, would you love to come onto the channel and talk about it? And she said yes, pretty much. She talks about training, AIT, what it's like some of the injuries that females might sustain during training, some of the hardest things about training, just things like that, right? So I actually went to AIT with her. Her name is Sergeant Alexandra Bomar, and she was kind enough to come on. So you guys can follow her on her Instagram at @goreandglory with 2 underscores at the end, right? Check out her page, give her a follow. She has some really good advice for all you females out there that are planning to join as a 68 whiskey, and just females in general. She has really good advice. So I hope y'all like the video. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you're most excited for AIT. But without further ado, let's get to it.
Hi everyone, my name is Sergeant Bomar. I'm going to be answering some questions today about being a 68 whiskey and being female in my MOS and in the Army. I was really excited when Ben reached out to me to help answer some of these questions because we actually went to AIT together, so that was really cool. I've almost been in the Army for 4 years now, and I currently work in a position of running a deployment medical readiness clinic and a troop medical clinic for AIT students. In my opinion, the hardest thing for females in AIT, for everyone, was just passing the NREMT because it's not an Army-based test. There's not really a way to study so that you can pass that test. Everything is very situational based. So I think that's one thing that everyone did struggle with. But the hardest thing specifically for females was probably the physical conditions, just like it is in basic training. You're going to have people who are patients who are 250 pounds, and then you put gear on them, and then you have to carry them on a litter with some other small female friends that are about 115 pounds like you are. And that's always going to be a struggle just because there is a biological difference there. So I would say fitness and just strengthening is going to be one of the hardest things for females in my MOS specifically. I personally was never treated any differently because I was a female from my NCOs and instructors. Everything was 100% professional. There are even mentors that I have reached out to today in my Army career, and some of the best leadership I had in my whole entire Army career. I don't want to speak for everyone on this situation because I do know of females who have had different experiences than me, but what I would say is there is a lot more training and a lot more opportunities, like the open door policy, SHARP, EO, that you're able to bring that up and report those certain circumstances if you do notice that something is going on. And I would really encourage people to do that, even if it's not you directly. If you notice that something is going on or you overhear something, I really encourage you to speak out about that. And if you don't feel comfortable addressing it, go to somebody who you do feel comfortable about, tell somebody about it, because most likely it's not going to be the first time that they ever do it, or wasn't their first time actually doing it, and they don't need to be in a position where they're going to be mentoring multiple people if they cannot stay professional in their job. Some advice I would give females who are considering joining the military or my MOS specifically, because we do have to work with a lot of combat MOSs directly, would be to have thick skin. This is a family. The Army is great. It's one of the best experiences that I've ever went through in my life. We are a brother and a sisterhood. We have each other's backs in some of the hardest times. And, we do have dark humor. There's going to be a lot of stuff that is not the normal thing that most people would talk about. Have thick skin. Working in a predominantly male environment, especially with combat MOSs, you're going to be sometimes looked at as the weakest link, and that's it, because you are female, because you are the underdog. So what I would do is just not make any excuses for yourself and try your absolute best. I mean, at the end of the day, there's not something that bothers me more than a female who makes excuses or tries to use her gender to get over on the next person, or say that she doesn't have to do this and that because she's female. In the Army, what I think we should all see is just simply the uniform. We are genetically different, so if you do notice a weakness physically, get in the gym. You're going to have to work 10 times harder than the person next to you sometimes because they are male, and that's just going to be the way that it is. It's not going to be always fair. They are going to have some advantages over you, but I do think that, women have advantages too over males. So try your best. Don't make excuses. Don't play the gender card. Don't play the pretty me card. Have thick skin and just do your job. At the end of the day, if you do that, you'll have no problems in the military. This is probably one of the hardest questions to answer out of all of them. I would say my answer right now is yes and no. If females can meet the same exact requirements as a male, not 3 sit-ups less or something less that the male has to do, then I don't think that they should be pushed through. The mission in the war is never going to change if you're a male or a female. An enemy's not going to run up to you and be more gentle on you because you are female. So I do think in every circumstance when you're going through a combat MOS, everything should be the same exact standard, whether you are male and female, and you should not be allowed to enter that MOS unless you can meet those standards that are set forth for both genders. The best thing that a female can do to pass my MOS is to study hard and work out. When those PT sessions come, you better be working out 20 times harder than the person next to you, because when you get to that field phase and you're climbing up a mountain in a litter with a 250-pound male with gear, and you're wearing gear, and it's hot outside and you haven't slept, and when all the physical stress is going on around you, that's when it's going to apply. So I would take the time, even before I go to basic training, if you are considering being in the military or being in this MOS, to start working out. Lift weights, get better at cardio, but I would say that that's the one thing that is going to be the hardest for the females, especially females that are my size or haven't been in any sports or athletic events in their life. So train really hard for PT and train on your off time if you can. As far as injuries go, when comparing females to males, it's kind of a hard number to gauge. It just kind of depends on how many males to females there are in your training and what you're training for. But I would say there are more common injuries in females, such as shin splints, femur fractures, hip injuries. Those types of injuries are always going to be more predominantly in females because of the way that our bodies hold the weight, or just because we're usually smaller framed, and usually when doing the same requirements, those tend to be first affected in females. I run actually an AIT clinic, so I see a lot of soldiers in AIT, and I would actually say that males are more likely to get injured sometimes, only because I do think that most of them work out on their off time and lift weights or try to muscle bulk in AIT. Once they get that little bit of freedom, it's really common for soldiers to start going to the gym after they get out of like basic training where that wasn't available for them. So I would say there are a lot of like shoulder injuries, knee injuries when it pertains to the males, or even, playing sports or playing football, and those types of injuries, those tend to happen to males a lot more in training. But the best thing to do, like I said, for those is to build up your strength prior to going, so that those specific areas aren't as compromised as if you didn't train before. This question is another one that's really hard to answer. My overall answer in my experience in the military is that I was never really treated differently because I was a female. I always just went in, did what I was supposed to do, and left. I wasn't really about any of the drama or the dynamics of my workplace other than just doing what I was supposed to do and going home. And like I said, the best thing you can do as a female is just not make excuses for yourself, have thick skin, and try your best. You're not going to have any issues really if you do that. I'm not going to speak for everyone's experience because it's really going to depend on what your job is, what unit you're in. You know, I've seen people who are in units and they actually work with mostly females, or I've seen, you know, units where you go to a force comm unit and you're the only female attached to the unit. So of course those experiences are going to differ a little bit, not just saying, you know, one's going to have a bad experience and one's going to have a good one. What I will say is, of course, when you're around predominantly males, I mean, things are going to come up that are going to probably be uncomfortable because at the end of the day, people in the military are humans. There are going to be bad soldiers. There's going to be great soldiers. The thing that I would say is that if you do feel that you're being treated differently as a female, I would just confront them personally. I'm the type of person where I can professionally and respectfully stand up for myself. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then confide in somebody that will, or use your resources like an open door policy, EO, SHARP, IG, just, you know, depending on the situation. I've always had no problem if I ever felt in any situation, not just being female or male, that if I had an issue, if I faced it head on directly, I've never had an issue with it being resolved. I know people who have had bad experiences in the military, and I do want to say to females, don't be so scared about that, because there are a lot of females who ask me a lot of questions, and this is something that I even really looked into, because there's always rumors that, you know, sexual assault is like so high in the military. It's really not. Of course it does happen. I mean, I'm not going to sit here on camera and be naive and say, oh, none of this ever happens in the military. We're taught to be the most professional people. We should always be professional. And as that is true, and we should live by what we're taught in the military, and to be professional, and, you know, these are your brothers and sisters and you shouldn't treat them with any disrespect. Like I said, people are still humans. You're going to have interactions that are good. You're going to have interactions that are bad. You're going to have some type of thick skin. You might have to stand up for yourself in certain situations. My overall experience, I've never been treated really differently. And I think that I could speak for the majority of people or females that I work with that would be their experience too. But I mean, don't think that it will never happen, or that circumstances won't come up that you're going to be uncomfortable, because it's going to happen. I mean, it happens in everyday life as a female, so it's not going to be any different just because you are in the military. So the best advice I could give is just face everything head on, stand up for yourself. If you feel like it's out of your control, or, you know, really crosses the line at that point, you know, report it, stand up for yourself, and you never know if that person can be affecting other people, not just you. So that's pretty much it. That's going to be like the conclusion to this video. You guys can reach out to me on Instagram at Gore and Glory with 2 underscores at the end. And yeah, have a great day.
All right, guys, so there you have it. She gave a bunch of good insight into being a female in the 68 Whiskey MOS. It's not easy. Like, for all of you that are thinking of joining, like, it does not come easy. You have to put in a lot of hard work, effort, and a lot of study hours, right? As she said. I just want to thank Sergeant Bomar for coming on again. I really appreciate it. It was really great to collab with somebody from AIT. If I went to AIT with you guys and you guys want to come on the channel, let me know. We can make a video. We'll make it happen. Again, follow her Instagram at Gore and Glory with 2 underscores at the end. And also, if you haven't already, follow my Instagram at Ben_Allen175. Best possible place to reach me. I answer all my DMs, and I'm sure Sergeant Bomar will be more than happy to answer any questions y'all have if you hit her up on her Instagram as well. So, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. And again, comment down below what you're most excited for AIT. I want to know. Let's talk about it. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Later.